Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation is the 15th Ashtapadi of Gauri Sukhmani Mahalla Panjama. We begin, as usual, with the Salok and then move on to the Ashtapadi. Salok Sarab Kala Bharpur Prabh Birtha Jananhar Jaake Simran Udriya Nanak Tis Balihar. So Nanak is offering himself up. In other words, self-surrender to that Prabh self, Nanak Tis Balihar. And this Prabh self, the creator self, overflows with creative potency. And it is the source of all skill. Sarab Kala Bharpur. Kala, one of the many connotations of Kala, is skill or art. So all the arts, all the skills, all the creativity, in other words, is contained, it's within the self, which is overflowing. So Nanak offers himself up to that Prabh self, because that is the way out of our predicament. Prabh Birtha Jananahar, that self is aware of our predicament. And through Simran, that we spoke of earlier, and will in this session as well, through Simran, we can find freedom from our plight. So the question is, what is our predicament? Our predicament is haume, which is limiting. It is the conditioned mind which binds us. But we are also of the spirit, Prabh. You see? So we are an admixture of the body and the spirit. The embodiment binds us, but the spirit in us wishes to be free and take to wings. It wishes to expand. So that is the fundamental tug and war. So that is our predicament. That is the inner conflict. So the goal is to actually break the barriers of this conditioned mind into an unconditioned and expansive state of mind. What we lack is the knowledge and the know-how to tap into this infinite pool of creative potency that Gurbani calls the Prabh. Prabh actually connotes wisdom. So the Guru is telling us that the wisdom or the knowledge of the Prabh that we lack, of the Creator, is actually scattered all about in its creation. We just need to be able to access it. And that access point is the Guru, as we shall see. So at the beginning of the Ashtapadi, the Guru says, he's emphasizing that nothing is outside the purview of Gopal. Gopal, master of the universe. This is a synonym for Prabh. This te birtha koina. It sustains its creation, Sarab jiyan ape pratpal, and it does so with concern and with care. Sagal ki chinta jis man maahe. And this Gopal mends broken ties. Here the reference is to the fractured mind. You see, the mind is split, dalajana, into two, the spirit and the body. So Gopal is the mender. It'll stitch together what has been fractured. Tuti Gandhanhar Gopal. So having given us a sense of the Prabh self, of wisdom, the Guru addresses the mind and says, my mind, remain in constant awareness of the Har self. Re man mere, sada har jap. And remain aware of the imperishable wisdom that permeates the universe. Abhinasi Prabh appe aap, the imperishable. Wisdom is also imperishable. It's eternal. It's there. And we may long for 100 things, Jeso prani loche koe, but we cannot get them by our own exertion. Apan kiya kashu na hoye. This is very significant to remember. Nothing other than the Har self is of any avail. Tis bin nahi tere kish kaam. So you see, we often are misled into believing that we are the agents of our own actions. But the Guru is telling us otherwise. We are simply instruments and tools that are being acted out. And what we need to do is to line up with the self so that we know what is being intended. And it is precisely because we don't know what is intended or what the hukam is that we get into trouble. And the Guru here says, your only resource is the self that is available to you as self-knowledge. Realize the self and find liberation, freedom from how mein gat nanak jap ek har naam. And now again, from another perspective, the Guru is reminding us that you're simply reflecting the power or the radiance of the self through you. It is not your own. Roopavant hoye nahi mohe. Why are you vain about your beauty, the Guru says? For it is the reflection of the light that glows in every heart. It's the same light. Prabh ki jyot sagal ghat sohe. Why are you proud of your wealth? Dhanavanta hoye kya so garb hai? Garb, what are you proud about? When all that is given to you are gifts. Ja sab kish tiska diya darbe. And if you fancy yourself to be a brave warrior, at sura jego kahave, if you name yourself that, or you want to be called that, or be addressed as, remember that the self is the source of your strength. Prabh ki kala bina kahatave. If you consider yourself a dispenser of charity, jeko hoye bahe datar, know that the real giver looks upon you as a fool for thinking that. And says Nanak, seek the grace of good wisdom, which will cure you of your egotism, your haume. Jis gur prasad tute hau rog. So jan sada rog. Then your lifestyle will become wholesome. That's where we need to get to. And now the Guru reverts back to this eternal wisdom, Gur wisdom, that is scattered all about us and within us. It gives us, the Guru is giving us some insight into how and where that wisdom is by giving us examples. He says, like a pillar that holds up an edifice, Jo mandar ko thame thaman, the word of the Guru, knowledge, props up the mind. Tyo gur ka sabad manhe asthaman. Like a boat that can carry a stone across the stream, because the stone obviously cannot float across water. Jio pakhan nav char tare. The teachings of the Guru are like that boat, and they can carry a human across the ocean of life. You see, because we can't do it ourselves. We are like stones trying to get across water. Prani gur charan lagat nistara. like light that dispels darkness. Jo andhakar deepak pragas. The mind comes abloom when it sees the vision of Guru wisdom. Gur darshan dekh man hoye bigas. Like a traveler lost in the wilderness is able to see the path in a flash of lightning, jo maha udyan mein marg pave, so does the association of a sadhu, an enlightened one, a reference to the Guru here, enables one to see the path or our own inner light, because the teachings of the Guru come to us like flashes of insight, the lightening of insight, if you will. So Nanak says, I seek the association of the Santan. This is plural, fellowship of wise, evolved, enlightened beings. And this Santan ki paashon tod, meaning I bathe in their knowledge, in the company, and pray that my wish is fulfilled. And now to those who are always complaining about their condition, the Guru says, Mana murkh kahe bilalai, foolish mind, why should you raise a hue and cry? Why are you howling? Because your lot was preordained. Pura likhe ka likhya paye. Here is a suggestion to us that we are really, in some very significant ways, creating our own realities. You see, by the choices we make or the choices we don't make. So the Guru is admonishing us. He says, don't look askance, you see. Instead, find comfort in what is given to you. Jo kash kare, soi sukhaman. Whatever is given by the self, the dispenser of happiness and sorrow. Dukh sukh prabh devan har. So there's two lessons here. One, that we are where we are in large part because of ourselves. And secondly, the way forward is to accept whatever is dispensed and to deal with it. Acceptance. Get on with it, as we say. And again, why do you wander around in ignorance? Pula kahe fire ajan. And here is the question. What did you bring with yourself and what will you take? Kaun basat hai tere sang. Why do you think that something belongs to you in the first place? Why should you cling to fleeting things like a greedy moth clinging to fire? Lapat rayo ras lobi patang. So the Guru advises us. He says, realize self-knowledge within that will lead you to the self. Ram naam jap hirday mai. And return to your true habitat with honor. Nanak pat siddhi kar jahe. It's like coming back after a long journey, having accomplished your mission, you see. So when you come back home, you feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. This is sort of in a worldly sort of way to explain to us what the whole process is. And there is a suggestion that we are travelers because we are here trading, making an exchange. And the Guru says, Jis vakhar ko lain tu aaya, Ram naam santan ghar paya. The commodity that brought you here in the first place. Here meaning this embodied existence. What brought you into this embodied existence is Ram Naam, self-knowledge. That is what we are here for. Knowledge of the self, to recognize who we truly are. And that knowledge, the Guru says, is found in the heart of the wise and enlightened. Ram Naam Santan Garpaya. So he encourages us, the Guru encourages us. He says, don't stand on your pride. Taj abhaman. And give yourself up in exchange. Le man mol. Pay the price with your head for self-knowledge. It's that valuable. Pay the price with your head, with your mind. In other words, give up your conditioned thinking. your perspective. You see, that is the ego, your conditioned thinking, the lens that you have, that you wear to see the world. Give it up and measure it on the scale of your heart. So knowing by the heart instead of knowing by the head. Gurbani privileges knowing by the heart. Hirday mehatol, on the scale of the heart. And then the Guru says, while in this world, you're here as a traveler, you're here for an exchange, you're looking for a commodity that we know as self-knowledge. So the Guru says, toss aside everything else, avar-tyag, and load only the merchandise of self-knowledge. Lad ke avar-tyag. For everything else, meaning worldly goods, attachments, are nothing more than a poisonous web, bikhya janjal. And once you've loaded the merchandise, walk the path in the fellowship of enlightened beings, santa sangachal. And your departure will be greeted by cries of blessed are you, tan tan kahe sab koi. And your arrival at the threshold of the self will be welcomed, mukh ujjal har dargah. Now you see, who is it that is actually going to cry out, blessed are you? And who is it that is going to welcome you? It is actually the self. And blessed are you, those who are already there. You see, it takes one who is self-realized to recognize another self-realized individual, you see. I mean, we are caught in our egos. How on earth are we going to ever recognize a self-realized soul? Somewhere Gurbani, in Sukhmani in fact, Brahmgyani, Aap Nirankar, Brahmgyani ko Brahmgyani pachane. So the recognition has to come from somebody who's at that level of existence. And Nanak says, I would submit myself to that rare trader who engages in this trade. Eh vapar virla vapare, Nanak take sad balehare. And now here is the role of the Guru in all of this. And this section of this Ashtapadi is worth reading out aloud. Charan sad ke toye toye piyo, arp sad ko apna jiyo, sad ki turi karo isnan, sad upar jaiye kurban, sad seva vad bhagi paiye, sad sang har kirtan gaiye, अनेक बिगनते साधु राखै, हर गुण गाए अमृत रस चाखै, ओट गही संतह धर आया, सरब सुख नानक तह पाया. Just beautifully worded. Submit yourself fully to the Sad, the Guru Enlightener. Arp Sad ko apna jiyo. Give yourself up and then drink deeply of self-knowledge at the feet of the Sad, the Guru Enlightened. Charan Sad ke toye toye piyo. Now literally it means wash the feet of the Guru Enlightener. Well, obviously it means sit at the feet of the Guru Enlightener and learn. Assimilate the teachings, drink of what is being fed to you, you see, given to you. And then bathe in the radiance of the Sad. Sad ki turi kare snan. What does that mean? Keep the company of the Sad. You see, because we all carry a presence, and the presence of the Sad can be very infectious. There is a sense of elevation when one meets a Sad, an accomplished one, an enlightened soul. Some of you may have experienced that feeling. I certainly have. And you see, you feel an elevation that is hard to describe. And that is infectious. It comes from the presence, from the personality of the Sad. So bask in that radiance and give yourself over completely. Sad upar jaiye kurban. But it's the fortunate few who get the opportunity to apprentice with the Sad. Sad seva vad bhagi paiye. And with the Sad to engage in glorifying the self. Sad sang har kirtan gaiye. Now the Sad will protect us from any ill effect. Anik biganate sadhu rakhe. And with the Sad, we get a taste of the elixir of immortality. Self-knowledge. Har gun gaye amrit ras chakhe. Says Nanak, they who seek shelter with the Sad find lasting peace and happiness. Sarab sukh Nanak te paya. All belongs to the self. It alone is all competent. This is the theme with which we began. Sab kish tiske, tiska, oh karna jog. So the Guru returns back to where he began. There is no other, he says, nor will there ever be. This bin dusar hoa na hog. And the self is the source of all treasures. Sarab nidhan jaki drishti mahe. And we receive as it is ordained. Purab likhe ka lehna paye. So therefore, jap jan sada sada din rani sabte uch nirmal eh karni. This action, which one? Reflection, contemplation, and realization of the self with the help of the Guru. This is the most sublime act of your life. Nothing bests it. So this is it. And the beneficiaries of self-knowledge become pure of heart. That is, their ego is dissolved. Kare kirpa jisko naam diya, nanak so jan nirmal diya. And in conclusion of this Ashtapadi, Jaake man gur ki prateet tis jan aave har prabhcheet. To them is granted self-awareness who receive discernment from the Guru Enlightener. So this is a triumphant moment. And the Guru says their triumph reverberates in all the planes of existence. Bhagat bhagat suniye te loe. Why? Because this is a rare accomplishment. They have transcended their ego and perceive only the one. Jaake hirday ko koi. And so their lives are truly authentic and dedicated to the truth. Sach karani sach tanki rehat. Truth is in their heart and they speak truthfully. Sach hirday sat mukh kahat. They embody the truth and they discern nothing but the truth. The truth here is a synonym for the self, the creator. Says Nanak, the perpetual creator. Reality. Says Nanak, those who recognize the self as the truth, par brahm jin sach kar jata, become identified with the self. Nanak sojan sach samata. So, the most sublime of all actions that we can undertake is to apprentice to the Guru and attain to self-knowledge, because self-knowledge is not separate from the self. Indeed, we can only know the self through self-knowledge. And self-knowledge has dimensions to it that include truthful living, that includes the cultivation of virtue, that includes service to humanity. So it is multifaceted, multidimensional. On that note, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.